Hey friends, welcome to the Monday Moon Magic and Meditation Club. We just had a blue moon in Sagittarius. How are you feeling? This stream, Kaylee's already here to join the stream. Hang on. You want to make a Kaylee cameo? This stream's going to be a little different from our usually weekly streams. It's mostly going to be the same. However, because I'm doing a Monday Moon Magic and Meditation Club open house today, in addition to being live in our private group, I am also live on my Sassafras Tarot channels. And so I'll be doing all the same things we usually do. I'll be leading us in a meditation. I'll be talking about our tarot cards for the month. And I will be talking about this blue moon and how we can harness the energy and vibe with the energy. However, in addition to this private stream that always happens on Mondays at 11:11 in our Monday Moon Magic and Meditation Club group, I'm also live publicly, allowing people to get a taste of what it's like to be in this club. As a result, if you're tuned in on the private group, if you're on the MMMM club group, your comments are still private. It's still a private group. Your privacy is still there. If you're watching the public broadcast, it's a public broadcast. And as you share different comments, wherever you share them, understand that I'll be responding to them after the live stream a little more than during this time, because I care about your privacy and want to be able to do that in a way that, reflects that. Here's Kaylee's tale. I see a couple of people tuned in. Hello. How are you doing? As always, I'm going to comment on the broadcast in the private group so that there can be visibility and people can see it. I can see your comments. I have Kaylee in my lap. Good meowing. Hey B, how you doing? Okay, Kaylee, here you go, baby. Okay. So as always, I'm going to open up so I can see your comments in all the places, and I'm going to repeat that little disclaimer in a minute. But for now, let's settle in. Let's talk. I'm opening up Facebook so I can see everyone's comments. How is everybody feeling? Answer me these questions 3. I'll ask my standard 3 questions. Question number 1, where are you tuned in from? I am broadcasting from my dragon lair here on Long Island in New York. I made my bed and then piled a messy blanket upon it. So, we're doing perfectly imperfect this morning. And you get to see the reality of, some of the Monday morning chaos that I'm broadcasting from. Question 2, what you sipping on this morning? I always try to stay hydrated. I've got the remainder of my night table water, and I might be going and grabbing another bottle of water during the broadcast. And question 3, how are you feeling today? As always, I want the real answer, not the polite answer. I want to know for real how you're feeling. And I am tagging everyone and saying, hey, everyone, we are live, just for visibility. We are live. Okay. Cool. So how are you feeling?
How are you feeling?
Not polite answer. Oh my gosh, that was an echo because my computer sound on the video was on. Really good to see you all tuned in. How did this blue moon weekend treat you? I would like to know. As always, when I ask a question like, how are you feeling? And I say real answer, not polite answer, I get vulnerable because I want us all to feel safe to be vulnerable on this broadcast. I get real because I want us all to feel safe to get real. Man, was my weekend an emotional doozy. How about you? It's hard for me to pinpoint how I'm feeling because I've felt many things a lot all weekend long. Many very good things, many very tough things. And today, our focus, I'm going to talk about our tarot cards for the month a little bit, the 7 of Swords and the 10 of Cups. We're going to talk about how to kind of move through this aftermath of the blue moon. We're now in the waning phase of the moon. So it's really, if we've been focusing on manifesting, focusing on wishing, which I know we have, it's time to let go and let ourselves release and surrender. And I'll be doing a meditation around that, around surrendering, around, importantly, like surrendering to our own intuition and higher wisdom, and also surrendering to the fact of like things are going to keep moving forward the way they are, and surrendering to the fact that we can't predict that all the time. And I say that as a positive thing because often when we have big changes in our lives, including when we are trying to put big changes in our lives, when we're trying to create big positive change, and make things happen in our lives, our brains tend to go into this damage control mode because our brains don't like change. And our brains try to predict the negative things that will happen. Our brains run through a series of what ifs. And I believe that this is our brains doing our best to protect us, right? Doing our best to say, in any eventuality, I wish to be prepared, right? And part of the surrender that I'm taking us through today is that this understanding that our brains are going to jump to the negative what ifs because they're trying to prepare us and trying to be ready, but living in stress and anxiety and stress and anxiety and stress and anxiety isn't actually good for us. So allowing ourselves to surrender to the fact that we don't know, right? We just don't know. We just don't know what the future will hold. And our brains naturally, evolutionarily, hold a little bit of a bias to look at things negatively. So surrendering and reminding ourselves that negativity isn't realistic, even if our brain tells us that. Realism is we don't know, and we have to let what is happen, but we can rely on our own selves and how we've gotten through past, situations. And the truth that just as something horrible might happen, which we're already worrying about, something wonderful is just as likely or unlikely to happen, right? So something wonderful could happen too. And surrendering to that possibility and surrendering to trusting ourselves. That's the focus today. Meowy morning. I'm taking a hydration checkpoint. Cheers. Sipping on coffee, living the dream. The pool is lovely. Hell yeah. I love that. That's so many things, Nancy. Just sending love and like riding calmly through the chaos energy. Sending good vibes. For real, Melissa Energy needs to drink more water. Weekend went well, cold or congestion. Feel better. I'm sending feel better vibes. Weekend went great. Lots of food and moonlit, feeling good. Love that. Oh, I love this. Realized what time it was and promised and wished I would connect more to my spirituality since I've been neglecting it. So I made sure to sit down and be here today. I'm so grateful that you're here. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Feeling both run down and refreshed. What a mood. What an understandable mood. Overworked last week and then physically meh. I feel that. I hear that. I'm sending you good vibes and I hope that you can. I'm just going to say it. If you overworked last week, can you balance it by underworking this week? No one wants to hear the word underwork, right? Like I'm a workaholic. I have and like, but that's the reality of what it looks like to balance it out, right? The pendulum swinging back. If you overdid it last week, you need to underdo it this week to let yourself come back to baseline. And our culture doesn't like that. Our culture doesn't like underdoing it. You hear about overdoing it all the time, and it's almost like a badge of honor, and we never talk about underdoing it. So I'm here to say, if you underdo it this week at all, I will be so proud of you. You listened when I said hydration check. Good. I'm also listening. I'm going to even get my second water. So hydration checkpoint. Well, I go get a second water and you perhaps take a sip of whatever you're sipping on. Definitely going to try to physically underwork this week, but I would like to make a big creative push. I love that. And I see you and raise you. If you're going to make a big creative push, I am going to encourage you to play every other part of your life on really easy mode so that there's room for that creative push to not overwhelm you. I leave you to Kaylee. Okay, so I'm going to repeat something I said at the beginning of the broadcast, just because I want to make sure everyone knows it and hears it, and also will explain why I may be talking a little differently today than I usually do, which is this. If you're watching this on the private Facebook group, or you're still watching a private broadcast, and your comments are still private. This is a private group that meets every Monday, as you know, right? Because you're in it. If you're watching this publicly, it's because I'm having an open house this week for the blue moon of the Monday Moon Magic and Meditation Club. And what this means for members of the club is if you're watching on the private stream, your comments are still private. Everything, everything is just as it always is on a Monday. I may not respond in the exact same way I usually do because this private group is a vulnerable space to share and a safe space. And I don't need to be, broadcasting things that are shared vulnerably when I'm doing, like a public open house type of broadcast. So understand that I'll be like responding to people's comments in the comments a little more this week instead of on air like I usually do or on stream like I usually do, because I just care about that, privacy and vulnerability. And if you ever wanted to tell anyone about the MMM Club, this is a good time because this broadcast is currently, like, I'm broadcasting in addition to our private group into my social media channels live right now, just so that people can get a taste of what it is like to do this with us. I decided to do like just a special thing for the blue moon. Yeah, true. When have you heard someone say they have been underworking or underthinking? This is in the comments. And I'm not like saying people's names with the comments as much as I usually do for that reason. Again, privacy, yeah, you don't hear people say that they've been underworking. You don't hear, especially underthinking is a really good one, like, because people say all the time, I'm overthinking. And I happen to think a lot of us who are more emotionally intelligent, sometimes we say we're overthinking when what we mean is, I'm thinking about this, but I'm nervous that you're going to be overwhelmed by engaging it with me. Like, I've been overthinking. Sometimes we say it when what we mean is, I've been thinking about this a lot, but I'm not sure if you're ready to go there with me. So I'm going to like almost put myself down and say, oh, I'm overthinking, to give you an out. I noticed that those of us who are kind of like maybe a little bit people pleasers or whatever can tend to do this. But yeah, no one ever says they're underthinking. And frankly, sometimes we are. And I mean, like, I think back, and sometimes it's a good thing, right? Like, sometimes if you have been overthinking, if you've been ruminating, if the world has been getting at you, sometimes you need to underthink for a while. You need to have the reset so that you can come back, at a normal level. Yeah, there's a monster on my bed. I know. Kaylee is like, Kaylee's behind me, like trying to like get into the blankets and being a crazy pants. Yeah. Okay, good. I came in while you were explaining that originally. I was confused about why this was being explained, but missed the open house part. Yeah. Good to know. Yeah. Yeah. And hi, new people. Hi from the group to anyone new who's tuned in at this moment, which I don't know if people are. If you're watching the public broadcast, comment, say hi, let us know. And let us know, like, answer my usual 3 questions, which is, where you tuned in from, what you're sipping on, and how you feeling today. Hydration checkpoint. So let's talk about our tarot cards in the aftermath of this blue moon. Cheers. From the comments, I kind of think of underthinking as a good thing. To me, it means surrendering or using intuition. I really like that. Yeah, like, I'm kind of like motion to approve the use of the word underthinking in a positive way, which is like, I love how this comes full circle. Like, that is going to be my focus a little bit for these next 2 weeks, is a little bit of surrender. The cards that we are working with, and if you're new to the broadcast, we do this every moon cycle, not every month, like calendar month, but every moon cycle. At the new moon, we select a tarot card to work with and work with it all the way through the moon cycle to help us guide our energy and shepherd ourselves through it. So we're still working with the 2 cards. One of them jumped out at me during the beginning of the moon cycle. The 2 cards that we've been working with since the new moon that happened a couple weeks ago. And these 2 cards are the 7 of Swords and the 10 of Cups, in that order. Now, the 7 of Swords is a card of secrets. It's a card of difficult truths. It's a card of carrying truths. It's a card of secrets and things that we're holding close to the vest. So there's decisions to be made about when to reveal, how much to reveal. And similarly, being on the other side of it, either receiving unexpected truths and reveals from people or not receiving them, but knowing there's something that isn't being said. Um, and the other card that we're working with is the 10 of Cups, which is really truly one of like ultimate happiness and connection. Chosen family, the relationships that are with you for your whole lifetime that teach you who you are and help you be a better person and help you feel love and connection and intimacy. And really, the moral of the story, these two cards together mean very simply, the truth will set you free. 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 And we are working this moon cycle on allowing the truth to set us free. Oh, yes. Happy Pride and happy don't forget to do the cinnamon thing day. Yes, happy Pride. It's Pride Month, everybody. It's Pride Month. Are you celebrating? I will be celebrating. And what the cinnamon thing is, for those who don't know, is at the first of the month, if you take a little bit of cinnamon and go stand outside your doorway and like blow it into your door, it's supposed to invite prosperity into your month. So do the cinnamon thing today. I'm going to. And from the other broadcast, ooh, yes, must do the cinnamon thing. The truth will set you free. I might have to put that on my wall of wins. I hope you do. Yeah, and I'm letting us let the truth set ourselves free as a verb. I often talk about loving ourselves as a verb. That's been coming up a lot this week in my conversations, because it's difficult to have like, oh, I don't know how to feel like I love myself, but we know how to love as a verb. So we can love ourselves as a verb. We know how to take actions that are loving, right? So let's let the truth set us free as a verb this month. Let's make a conscious choice to live in the truth and embrace it as something that has potential to set us free. Because whether it's a truth we love or a truth we hate, right? And I've received some of both over the last 72 hours. And in some cases, from the very same people, and whether it is a truth that makes us feel like, oh boy, that brings up a lot for me, or it's a truth that makes us feel like, oh wow, I didn't know, that's wonderful. Sitting with those truths is what allows us to be free and move forward and make our choices, right? When we receive truth, whether it's news that we didn't have before, whether it's someone revealing something to us that was hidden from us previously, right? Or even us revealing from ourselves, right? Receiving the truth of like, okay, I now understand how I feel, right? That's my truth reveal. It allows us to move forward. It allows us to make choices. We don't want to be making choices based on guesses, based on assumptions. And sometimes it's more comfortable to do that. Sometimes it's even more comfortable for us to assume that the truth is shitty, because that lets us be self-protective, right? If we're like, oh, well, probably no one wants to hear this hear about this from me anyway. Oh, well, probably no one's really interested in what I have to do or have to say. Oh, well, probably they don't care anyway. Oh, well, probably whatever, it doesn't matter and it's not going to come to anything. Then that gives us permission to self-sabotage by not stretching ourselves, right? When we're like, oh, probably it doesn't matter. Probably no one wants to hear from me. Probably no one cares about this. That gives us permission to not put ourselves out there in a way that could really change our lives, right? Believing that the truth is more negative when we haven't been revealed any truth at all, it allows us to self-sabotage. It allows us to play small. And when the truth is revealed to us and we let ourselves get curious about it, well, what really is? I want to know what really is. We let ourselves play as our full selves. We let ourselves say, okay, this is what reality is. This is how I feel and what I want. And so this is what I'm going to do. And we know without a shadow of a doubt that we're making our best effort in the real circumstances, and when we try to hide ourselves or, hide the truth from ourselves, it does us a disservice. We don't get to do our best for ourselves. And don't we deserve to do our best for ourselves every day? So we're practicing surrendering to the truth this week. And I'm going to invite you to think back on reveals, things that you've learned about yourself, things that other people have shared with you, or things that have kind of like come across your awareness, like a news headline, or information that comes in, in through, someone telling you something or whatever. I think we've had a lot of very difficult reveals in the last couple years. If, like many of us are like kind of surfing the wave between trying to stay informed on national matters and international matters, and like stuff that can really affect us close to our hearts. And the information's coming hard and fast, and like information overload is real. And some of those reveals have felt like too much, so I think all of us have had some recent experiences with like the truth feeling overwhelming, feeling like it bogs us down rather than sets us free. But I also invite you to think about the times when truth comes in that is actually relieving. Truth comes in that you're like, oh, I had no idea, and you're delighted about it. I got a phone call this morning that was about a family member, and I'm not going to go into it because personal privacy, right? But it was a positive thing about their health. It did, however, change the game. It was a positive thing that we had to take some action on. And so it was like, okay, we're going to have to take this action. It's a stressor, but also it's a positive thing, right? And sometimes a reveal is a positive thing. And it's interesting that both of those things can contribute to overwhelm. So we need to let ourselves process when we find new information, right? But we have to remind ourselves, sometimes we get good news. Sometimes the conversation that we've been worrying about turns out great. Sometimes someone sends us a communication and we're really worried about what we're going to hear or read from them. And then we open it up and we're like, oh God, I'm so glad, I'm so glad it turned out this way, right? So I just want to remind ourselves that the truth can go any number of ways. The truth is not always this negative, scary thing. Our brains tell us that to try to protect us, but in so doing, it keeps us small, it keeps us scared. So I'm inviting us to do a surrendering meditation today. And I encourage you, if we've been overdoing it, if we've been trying to manifest, if we've been asking for the things, if we've been trying to take actions on the things, I love that for us. I love that we're trying to take actions on our lives. I'm going to encourage you, as the moon wanes, to give yourself a couple of opportunities in these next 2 weeks to underdo it. Because we've been overdoing it, and that's how the pendulum swings back, right? I'm going to lead us on a surrendering meditation. I'm going to talk about the breath as a moon cycle. And here, as the moon is now waning, meaning it's getting smaller after the full moon, this full blue moon that brought about probably surprises as well as a sense of possibility for us, and hopefully some wishes. Now the moon is waning. It's getting smaller. And the waning moon cycle is like the out breath. It is the release part of the moon cycle. The full moon is like the very top of the in breath, where we breathe all the way in. Our lungs are so full. We're fully expanded. We're fully open. We're also fully full. There's no room for anything more. And so before we continue, we must release. And how good does it feel to release when we've been holding ourselves so full for a moment, right? We're in the release. Can we have a delicious release these next 2 weeks? Because I think we deserve it. So, my friends, we're moving into our surrendering and releasing meditation. I invite you to get comfortable for meditation, however that looks to you. Some of us like to sit for our meditation. Some of us like to keep our eyes closed. Some of us like to keep our eyes open. Some of us like to take walks during our meditations, where we're just like letting our physical body move, but letting our mind, be focused in a different way. I don't recommend doing things like driving during a meditation, because you want your mind to be free to wander. And when you're driving, you should be paying attention to the road, If you want to lie down, that's also great. I don't like to put too much on like how you should be during a meditation. I like you to find what works for you, because to me, the best meditation is the one that actually works for you and feels good and that you want to do again. That's my personal belief. You might feel differently. That's okay. You do you. That's my vibe. So let's get comfortable. If there's anything uncomfortable that you wish to adjust before a meditation, now's the time. If you need to adjust your clothing, if you need to adjust your position, I'm like adjusting how I'm sitting on this chair. I want to be crisscross applesauce right now. Whatever, go for it. You know, if you need to do one last hydration checkpoint, maybe a little wiggle. Maybe you haven't stretched yet today. Do a little stretch with me. Do a little wiggle. Okay. All right. On your own pace and in your own way, I'm going to invite you to take a few full breaths with me. If you want some instruction, what I like to do is breathe in through my nose. Let the air fill me and really feel it filling me. Feel how it changes the shape of my body to accommodate all that extra air. And here I am at the full moon, at the top of the breath, and then let it go through my mouth slowly. Let myself feel that release. My chest and my shoulders drop because I'm not holding all that air anymore. It feels like a delicious letting go. And that is how I want us to play these next couple weeks of the waning moon. We are in the release. Welcome to your release era. And in 2 weeks, we get a new moon again. We start the cycle again. We take another fresh breath in. We begin to explore what's possible, right? But right now, let's allow ourselves to release. So much has happened for us. I know this individually and personally, everyone in this group, so much of this has happened. Thanks for tuning in, Eric. Blessed be. Welcome. So much has happened for us recently, and we have been working so hard to better our lives, to better the lives of others, to show up, right? And now I want us to slow down and let ourselves release. If we've been overdoing it, I want to give you permission to underdo it, because that's part of being balanced, right? So let's connect with our breath. Just letting ourselves feel what it feels like to breathe in. Feel the fullness. Breathe out and let it go. And even feel that emptiness at the bottom of the breath before we breathe in again. And how delicious it feels to breathe back in after that. Just feeling the air move through you. Feeling your body do what it was born to do. Your body is constantly cycling for you, bringing you renewal, bringing you release, bringing you renewal, bringing you release. What a wonderful gift that your body gives you every single day that you don't even have to think about. And when we think about it, we can have an opportunity to say thank you. Our body's the unsung hero, just taking care of us in this way, day in, day out. They don't get a day off. Join me in turning inward, feeling the way the breath moves our body. I often like to place a hand over my heart during meditation, both to feel connected with my breath and to feel connected with my heart. Sending love to myself as a verb. How does it feel to be breathing today? You can just have your inner experience. You can just answer for yourself to yourself. How does it feel inside your body today? There's no right or wrong answer. You don't have to worry about your answer. We're just naming how it feels. While we're tuned into our bodies, you might want to do a little check around, a little scan through. How does it feel in different parts of our body? As you scan all the way through, you might find parts of you that feel tingly, parts of you that feel a little stiff and need some movement, parts of you that feel tired, parts of you that feel warm, parts of you that feel cool. You're just naming and letting yourself experience what it is to be you right now. With so much overwhelming us, it's an act of balance to turn inward and just focus on what's happening inside. Just focus on us. And to let ourselves deal with some information that's not overwhelming. I can feel my thumb when I move it over my skin. That's not overwhelming. That's just what it feels like to be me. I can feel the pressure of my fingertips if I press them together. That's not overwhelming. That's just what it feels like to be me. How does it feel? And if there are things that you feel that you don't like, you're allowed to feel that way. I invite you to just breathe into them and let yourself experience them. Surrender. It doesn't mean we never try to solve our problems, but it's okay to just sit with what is. I feel stiffness right at the base of my skull. I'm just letting myself be a human being with a stiff neck today. Maybe I'll stretch it out later. Maybe it's good that I noticed. This is what it feels like today in my body. This is what it feels like when I move my neck a little and get a little movement in that stiff area. What a big difference. Tuning into these small things and letting ourselves feel them all the way is how we give ourselves recovery. Life is overstimulating. Turn inward and let yourself have a simple experience. And while we're here, I invite you to pay attention to your feelings, your emotions. Do a little scan just like we did before. Are there any emotions I'm feeling right now? And letting yourself get curious and feel them deeper, just like we felt deeper the press of our fingertips against each other. I feel a little bit of worry. What does it feel like to feel worried? I feel it as like a little bit of tightness or heat right between my eyebrows. Now it's just a sensation. It doesn't have to take over my day. I can just let myself feel it. What are you feeling right now? Give yourself permission to feel it and get curious. Take a few breaths here, just sitting with yourself. I'm going to give us a few minutes to practice surrendering, which is what we have been doing. Whatever's been on your mind or on your plate or on your shoulders this week, I invite you to imagine taking those things and spreading them on a table before you. We're using your imagination. I'm thinking about imagining my worry, and I'm imagining it as words written out on some yellow paper so that I can read them. Take your time to breathe. These things that you've been dealing with are not you. They're changing circumstances. They won't always be the same. It's okay that they affect you, but they don't have to dominate you. Imagine yourself spreading them out on the table in front of you and then feeling how it feels to not be carrying them. They're just in front of you. We can separate. How does it feel to just be you without that carrying? Giving yourself a break. Letting yourself just breathe as just you. And if you find you're still carrying more, put it on the table. Stay a while. Let yourself relax. Always in these meditations, I invite you to let in any kind of presence or energy or spirit that you work with, whether it might be a higher power, whether it might be your highest self, a guide or ancestor or angel that you work with, or just using your imagination to give yourself a loving presence. As you look at these different things you've been carrying, understand that you are not alone in carrying them. You don't have to carry them 24/7, and you don't have to solve it all by yourself. And if it feels overwhelming, I invite you to turn to that loving presence that is with you and ask for help. How does it feel to ask for help? Practice feeling it. Just let yourself feel the feelings. Let's take a few breaths here. I'm going to give you a few minutes to reflect, surrendering to the truth of what is in your life right now, these things you've been carrying that you're laying out before you to look at. Reminding yourself if you find yourself carrying them again or getting tense, you can once again put them down on the table. And working with this loving presence with you, letting them help you sort through them like a parent helping their child with their homework. You don't have to figure it out alone. I'm going to give us 5 or 6 minutes. You can imagine working through these different things you've been facing with this loving guidance. If you prefer, or if it gets overwhelming, you can sit simply with your hand over your heart, letting yourself feel your breath, letting yourself feel yourself. You can always come back here. Let's feel our emotions. Let's let ourselves be helped with what troubles us. I'll bring us back in 6 minutes. When you're ready, you might want to wrap up your conversation with your loving guide, with yourself. And you might want to decide what you're going to do with these different things that you've been carrying that you put onto the table. And might I suggest that you don't have to just pick them right up again? Maybe you want to just organize them neatly on the table so they'll be there for you when you're ready to focus on them. But let yourself go through your life without carrying them around like a heavy backpack. Maybe there are some good things in there that you would like to carry with you to remember. Oh, yes, I have this good thing in my life. Like putting a little stone in your pocket or slipping on a ring to remind you, oh, this good thing happened every time you notice it. You might want to take a minute to thank yourself for slowing down and showing up today, giving yourself love as an action, even if the feeling can feel hard to find. When you're ready, you might come back into your body by noticing your breath again, feeling the way it moves through you, feeling how it feels to have a human body. If your eyes are closed, you might want to let them open slowly in their time. How are we feeling, friends? I see at least one person tuned in the middle of that meditation. That must have been an interesting experience for you, me just with my eyes closed. You're welcome to go back to earlier in the broadcast and feel and go through the full meditation with us. Letting go is an action. Release is an action. We think letting go should be easy because if we're holding something, like I'm holding this whiteout that's on my desk in front of me, I can just let go, right? However, even then, I had to think about the circumstances of letting go. If I just let go of this whiteout and let it fall on the floor, it's going to make a loud noise. It might stress out my cat. It might stress out me a little bit. Then my whiteout's on the floor, right? So letting go can be complicated, right? Letting go is an action that we take deliberately. Give yourself permission to slow down, to put down the things you're carrying this week, to let yourself not just keep carrying them by default. Does anyone have anything they want to share? I always give space for this. If you want to just have your experience with yourself, it's okay. But this is a safe space for sharing, a safe space to be vulnerable. My own share that I think might be valuable to share with you. I often share first, both because I'm on the camera and someone has to, and because that's how I do. When I ask for vulnerability, I give vulnerability too. It's like we meet that way. We meet in a vulnerable space. When I was sitting with my feelings earlier, when I was simply feeling them, when I was feeling the worry, as I continued to feel what it felt like to feel worried, I realized that under the worry was love. It's not always like that. Sometimes, like, it's enough to just feel an emotion, be like, "That's what it is, that's what it feels like." But I felt that under the worry, there was love. I was worried because I cared so much. And then I was feeling the love, and it felt so good. And one of the phrases I was thinking of during my meditation was, "You have to take the good with the bad." And many people say this to mean, life's gonna give you good and it's gonna give you bad, and you have to just, like, accept that sometimes you get the bad stuff. But I think sometimes I forget to take the good with the bad. When I have something going on in my life that feels overwhelming, it just feels like I've got to focus on that. I've got to focus on solving this problem. I think our brains might be hardwired to do that so that we get ourselves out of trouble, right? If we're in the woods and there's a lion chasing us, it's not the time to feel the breeze on our face. It's the time to get away from the lion. But most things in life are not as dire as a lion, right? And even problems that are serious but stay with us for a long time, we do have the time to feel the breeze on our face. I did have the time today to feel the love underneath the worry and feel what a gift that was, that I get to feel that. So, this is your reminder to take the good with the bad. I zoned out without falling asleep. I love that. Different kind of rest. I would like to share that letting go can offer so much for us. I'm reading comments. That it can be hurtful but not harmful, and it's okay to be careful with ourselves. That's a really also, thank you. I love you too. I'm also thankful. I'm thankful that we get to do this on Mondays. I'm thankful that we get to connect this way. And I'm thankful for our friendship. I want to talk about I love your way with words, that it can be hurtful but not harmful. Because I think I know exactly what you mean. We feel it, and sometimes the feeling can hurt. Like the feeling of worry doesn't feel like a great feeling, right? But it's also not harming me. And feeling it makes me feel like, oh, this isn't so horrible, right? And it can free me to stop bracing against it. The thought of surrendering where I feel responsible for others' feelings created contraction in my body, especially chest. I hear that. Mine all goes right here when I think about that stuff, right in the back of my neck. I'm just allowing for this now, which is not easy for me. Problem solving is a quick jump away from feeling this kind of discomfort. Yeah. And don't we all sometimes need someone to just sit with us, right? Have you ever had a problem where you were like overwhelmed? It's not that you can't solve it. It's not that you can't do the actions. It's like sometimes you just need someone to care, you know? Let us be that person. Let us just care. Let's just be a witness. Sometimes I just need a witness. Sometimes I've had a really hard day and I feel very overwhelmed. I just want to be like, this is what happened. And it was so overwhelming. And I just want to have someone say, that is overwhelming, and just like care. And when we sit with our body and sit with our feelings, that's what we're doing for ourselves. We're being that witness. Mm, Melissa, I'm trying not to like give people stuff away, but I also know you're pretty open. Feeling a lot of romantic feelings this week, but also recognizing there's a lot of fear underneath. Yeah. I've also been feeling that push and pull this week, the good and the bad, the positive of connecting with others and the anxiety of connecting with others, but trying to allow myself, still reading the comments, to feel the nice squishy still. Yeah, right? Taking the good with the bad, right? It is stressful to feel worry and anxiety and whatever and fear. And it is really nice to feel squishy and joyful, Yeah. This is the act of surrender. And I think another word for surrender is just tuning in and slowing down. Letting ourselves simply experience what we are experiencing. The first time I got a cavity filled, I was a grown up. I did not have a cavity. I'm very lucky. I didn't have a cavity for almost 30 years. I think it was like either my late 20s or my early 30s. I think it was my late 20s. Never had a cavity when I was a kid. And then in my late 20s, went to the dentist and he was like, I see a cavity I should fill. And I had never had one filled. And we made an appointment. I was so worried about it because I had never had it done. Like a lot of people face that when they're younger, and they just like get through it. No one likes going to the dentist, but I had never had it happen. So I didn't know what I was in for. And something in me just wanted to surrender to the process and let myself feel all of it instead of trying to block it out. Which feels like not the thing you should do at the dentist, but that's what I did. And let me tell you, I was very anxious. It was not because I wasn't anxious. I was anxious and I chose to feel it more deeply. I chose to slow down and tune in. And I could have listened to something on headphones and I had them if I wanted. But instead, I just asked the dentist to talk me through everything he was doing. And I just let myself feel every step and be present for it, the emotions and the feelings in my body. And what I found was it was uncomfortable, but I was also good for it. I could notice my discomfort. I could notice that there was some pain. I could experience that. And I was still me. And I was still breathing. And it was okay. And that was such an amazing feeling of freedom to realize I could go through something I was so scared of and it could still be okay. And so I want to leave you with that the things that we feel so overwhelmed by, if we slow down and tune in, we can find that it's still okay. We can maybe even find some good to take with the bad. So my loves, if you tuned in publicly, and this is the first time you're seeing a broadcast like this from me, I do this every week for the Monday Moon Magic and Meditation Club. And I'm going to post on these public broadcasts the link for more information about that. I think it's in the description already, but just so you have it. If you're interested in joining, you can visit tinyurl.com/Monday Moon. You can also message me if you want to talk about it or ask questions. Every Monday we do this at 11 a.m. It's a safe group. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I keep the energy of this group feeling good so that we can all feel safe and vulnerable. So I won't, I prefer to check on, I think that if you're interested in a group like this, usually you tend to pass the vibe check. You know what I mean? And it tends to, my energy tends to attract the right kind of people. But I like to keep this group small. I like to keep this group vulnerable. So if you're interested, you can message me. You can go visit the URL, tinyurl.com/Monday Moon to learn more about it so that you learn more about what it's like. You just experienced what it's like. We do this every single Monday. And although it's live, the replay stays up. So on days when we can't all make it on a Monday morning, we can access it whenever we're ready. And it all takes place in a private Facebook group so that we can also interact and engage with each other and share with each other and support each other throughout the week as well. It's kind of like a really loving sleepover coven. And it's $11.11 per month for, just like membership to be a part of this experience so that I can take my time and prepare these special meditations for us, and, maintain this space. So if that's something you're interested in, you can message me. You can visit tinyurl.com/Monday Moon. If you're already here in the group, I'm thankful for you. And I know that this was a little bit different and a little longer broadcast because I had my little spiel, and I thank you for your patience with me. And I thank you for being a part of this with me. I feel so grateful for us. All right, my loves, have a wonderful day.